Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the Board States Pod. I am joined by the jet-propelled Jazz, and I am your fellow co-host, the rocket-fueled Reggie. I'll be chatting at the end of the episode, as we always do in our En La Mesa segment, which is our first impression segment, about Off With Their Heads, and Jazz will be talking about Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard. That is one game. We've got a state of mind for you today. We'll be doing a fun little this or that with Jazz here. I'm excited to do that with him. And our main topic today are board game awards. So there are lots of big awards in this time of year, typically in the, right after Q1. There's a lot of awards for the games that came out in the previous year. So we'll be talking about a bunch of 2025 games that got nominated or have won awards. Hopefully we can talk about all of them, but we're mostly going to focus on the Golden Geeks, the Spiel des Jahres, and the Mesa Select games. Here's what we're going to talk about. If we have time, there's a few other awards out there too. There's so many, which is great. So that's what we're going to talk about. Jazz, hello. How we doing? How about them Knicks?
Oh, yes. Let's bring it on, baby. Knickerbockers. Let's go in 6. I got them in 6. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it in 5.
Thing. My dad just texted me and said, we got them in 6. It's the New York Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs in the finals here. If you are not a sports baller.
Let's get it, man. I've been waiting for this since I've been born. I've been waiting to see a Knicks championship.
That's crazy. It's been since '99, right? Since they've been there.
Since we were last there against the Spurs, and they did defeat us, but let's get it. I think we got it. For you Philly fans, come on, you got to get off of that like hate for New York. You got to root for those Villanova guys, those Philly guys
That's
who
true.
brought college championship to the area before the Sixers did. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, I love all of it. So sorry, that's our sports ball talk for now, but that's great. I don't have my Seattle Supersonics anymore, so I just root for the Knicks because my dad's a Knicks fan, so that's great. Okay, we're gonna get into our state of mind today, which I just made Jazz wait like 3 minutes so that I could go do the silliest thing for the final question on here. Today, our state of mind is going to be called Which is More, okay? That we got to keep this quick because we got a lot of games to talk about on the awards. So I'm just going to give you 2 things and you're going to have to tell me which is more, okay? They're all board game related.
Okay.
We'll do that in 1 second. But your treat for the day, your victory point, which is normally a Boricua cuisine. We switched it up in episode 15 with Alba. You got to go listen to what that was. We are going to do arancini today, okay? Have you had arancini? You're a Northeaster. Have you had arancini before?
I have not.
It is these Italian rice balls. They're at any Italian restaurant. I think they originate in Sicily. And they're usually made with risotto and saffron. You eat them with a red sauce. They usually have meat inside them. They're so good. Shout out to my mother-in-law. She's very, very Northeast Boston Sicilian, and so she loves them. And we just ordered them at a restaurant recently. I'm like, this would be a great little victory point for today. So arancini is what you're playing for today. You got 5 chances here. That would be perfect. That'd be a perfect appetizer.
They look good. They look delicious.
They do, yeah. I do encourage anybody listening, anybody commuting, if you're cooking right now, definitely take a second to look arancini up because they're really good. It's spelled Arancini.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of a relleno de papa, which has more like
It is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, that's great. Okay, are you ready? Are we locked in? It is kind of late in the evening here for Jazz, so we want to give him a break but it's a 50-50 chance here. 50-50 chance.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to do 2 designers here on Board Game Geek, both cooperative, both last names start with the letter L, and we're going to see who has more linked items as a designer. So that's how it does it on BGG, which means it's not just published base games. It could also include expansions and promos, anything that's linked to this designer, okay? So which designer has more linked items on BGG, Matt Leacock or Ryan Lockett?
I'm going to say Matt Leacock.
You think Matt Leacock, designer of Pandemic?
I think
that would be a very good guess. He has 56 linked items, and Ryan Lockett has 92.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I think it's maybe all the promos. I didn't really deep dive into it, but I really thought Leacock would have it by a mile.
I would have thought so too.
But it is Ryan Lockett with 92 as the time of this recording, of course. Okay, we're going to go to two popular board game purchases. And I know both of us, I think, own one version of each of these.
Okay.
So we're talking about the Iron Clays 400. Okay, that's a 400 poker chips is how many are in there in US dollars from MSRP versus a Kallax shelf, IKEA's own 3x3. So a 9-box shelf of a Kallax. So which cost more? Iron Clays 400 pack or a Kallax?
Man, I really should have paid attention when I was in IKEA like a couple weeks ago, looking for closets. I think the cost of the 200s are Iron Clays are like $100. I think.
I think you're actually spot on.
So I'm gonna go with the 400s is going to be more than the Kallax. I think the Kallax is like 179. We were going the 9x9 or 6x6 again. Well, I forgot.
Then the 3x3,
the 3x3.
9 total.
The 9 total.
9 total boxes.
Then we're going with the Iron Clays.
Iron Clays. You are correct. So the 400 pack of Iron Clays costs $150, which blows my mind. I got my pack of Iron Clays, which I think I have the Iron Clays 100. Yeah, and I got that for like $50 on Game Nerds. It was such a great deal. I love them. And then the Kallax for that specific size, which is probably the most common, is exactly $99. So it's only $100 for a shelf like that. That's why we love it. Wow, that's great. Love that. You have earned yourself.
Let's do it.
An Ardencini.
Oh, I like it.
Okay.
Delicious already. Let's go.
Oh, that's so great. You got one. All right, here's another one. This is a board game related components here, okay? Two of the best in terms of tableau builders, in terms of what I call BDE games, big deck energy. Which base game has more cards in it? Ark Nova or Terraforming Mars?
Ooh.
Okay, which has more? It is neck and neck, by the way. So whichever one you guess is a good guess.
Oh man, I have never played Ark Nova physically.
It's true.
But I've seen that stack on a table and it is monstrous. For me, I'm gonna go with, it's probably close, but I'm gonna go with Ark Nova.
Ark Nova has 255 cards in it. That's a lot of sleeves. If you want to sleeve it, Terraforming Mars. I'm looking at you, Colin. My buddy Colin has sleeved all of Ark Nova. It's insane. Terraforming Mars, 233. So you are correct.
Wow.
Ark Nova is the bigger amount of cards. You got two Arancini.
Let's go.
That's great. Two more here. Another BGG one here. We had to go to BGG. This is also a kind of a follow-up to our Awesome Family Feud episode the other day. This is about games that are tied to a specific IP, okay? Two of our favorites. Which has more? Star Wars games on BGG or Lord of the Rings games on BGG?
Ooh.
And just to be fair, the Lord of the Rings is technically, it says author J.R.R. Tolkien. That's how you tie it to it. Star Wars is movies, Star Wars. So yeah, versus the book, the Lord of the Rings books or the Star Wars movies, which has more games?
Reg, I think you're tricking me on this one because you know my love for Star Wars. So I'm gonna go with Lord of the Rings here, and I do love me some Lord of the Rings. So I'm just gonna say,
especially lately,
Lord of the Rings, especially with the ones I know that are coming out. So I would say that those are also on BGG, which might take it over the top.
Star Wars games on Board Game Geek, 773.
Wow.
Lord of the Rings, 414. So it was a stomp by Star Wars, which I think there's just a lot of expansions to some of those big games, maybe Rebellion or maybe the miniature games. Like and Star Wars had a huge moment before I got in the hobby. I think Lord of the Rings has really had a resurgence.
Gotcha. And I guess, I guess, yeah, BGG, they kind of, you're right. They do have like a, they track everything from like promos and all this other stuff, so I can definitely see that, especially with the old Star Wars card games and things like that. So yeah, exactly.
So okay, you got two though. You've got two correct.
All right, let's go.
Here's your chance to get a third, which is like the perfect appetizer here. Okay, what I did right before we started recording, these are my copies.
Okay.
We're going to say which is more in weight in pounds, okay? Which weighs more?
Wow, okay.
My Wingspan Nesting Box or my Castles of Burgundy Special Edition, okay? So I weighed myself, then I put the thing on me and did some subtraction. So Wingspan Nesting Box versus Castles of Burgundy Special Edition. Again, my specific copies.
Your specific copies. You have
Your mileage may
everything
vary.
for Wingspan. I know
Yes,
that.
if that's true. And I technically have everything for Castles of Burgundy except like the big minis.
Yo, so you don't have the big minis in there. That's good to know.
I don't have the big minis. I have to, I got to give you that.
There are a lot of cards in Wingspan. And I'd have to say that you probably blinged out your Wingspan copy with like not the cardboard chits. Let's go Wingspan here.
My Wingspan Nesting Box, if my calculations are correct, is 14.8 pounds. And my Castles of Burgundy Special Edition is 11.6
Yes,
pounds.
let's go.
That's I also have the Jade Stone Eggs, which are really
that
heavy.
took it over the top. See that?
Yeah, but I don't have the chits. I actually do have the cardboard chits.
Okay.
That's funny. Yep, so there you go. Okay, so you got 3 Iron teams. That was it. Leacock versus Lockett, Ironclays versus Kallax, Arc Nova versus TM, Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings, and Wingspan Nesting Box versus Castles of Burgundy Special Edition in weight.
I'll take that. Listen,
there you go.
It's over 500. That's a good day.
That's good. Okay, we did that really fast because we got some awards to talk about. So we're ready. I think maybe just, do you have any affiliation with awards? Do you have any thoughts on it? Like what do you even keep track of these things? Like, let's talk for the listeners, dearest gentle listeners. Like, what do you think about the awards, Jazz?
I'm not really big on like always following them. Obviously the Spiel is the one that I follow, like when it's going to get ready to announce. I'll like look at some of the stuff because I know sometimes this game is this hobby is so large that we will miss out on games, right? And there's just some games that might have skipped my mind, never got a chance to play it. So when they're nominated, I will look into those games and I'll try and pick them up before, like whatever interests me, I'll try to pick it up before they announce the winner, because normally after they announce the winner, the game is ridiculously hard to find. So yeah, I think that's where it comes down to me. It's always like looking at things at the Spiel, what comes out, whether it's the Kenner Spiel, the Kinder Spiel, like I said, I have younger kids in my home, so or the just in general, that's what I look at. But I do, when a box is on the shelf at the store, I will see. I will. Or is it FLGS, whether it's Target, wherever it's at. When I see that little award symbol on it, it does catch your eye, especially as a hobbyist, right? And you'll look at that. But I also think it's just good for people who are new to the hobby and they see an award-winning game, right? And they'll look at it, it'll catch their attention. Okay, and it's something that they might buy it, be more inclined to buy it because of that award. So I do love it. Doesn't mean that everyone loves the game. There's some games that have won or been nominated that I'm not a big fan of. But yeah, that's kind of how I think of it. Yeah,
that's great. I agree with almost all that. I just do keep track of it really. I just love awards. I love lists. I love rankings. You know that. So I'm very into it. I actually know a guy, and I don't want to out him here, but if he's listening to this, he actually has a very curated collection, and he says, I only buy games that have won an award.
Wow.
Which is very interesting. So because he likes to introduce people to games. He's from like the Northwest too, so that's cool. But my big thing is, I actually do have a quick aside on the Spiel, because if you have heard my story of my real gateway game, my wife and I, the Queen and I, before we were just boyfriend and girlfriend back in the day, we went on our first international trip over to Canada, Victoria, which is on Vancouver Island, very close to Seattle, like one ferry. And we're out there, we're having a great time. We stayed at an Airbnb, and the Airbnb my wife selected just happened to be across the street from a board game cafe.
Wow.
Okay, this is circa 2016, probably 2017. And it had to have been summer of 2017. And we go in there, we're just like, let's just do this. We hadn't played many games, so we'd maybe played some Rummy together or something. And we go in and we're like, what are all these games? And the guy who was there was like, have you played many games? We're like, not really. And I remember my wife was really into jigsaw puzzles, and she said, like, I like puzzles. I kind of said she likes puzzles. And he's like, oh, okay, well, this game won like some German award. Like that's what he
That's what he
kind of
said.
said. He said it like it won this famous like German award is what he said. And I like I would know what that is. And it was King Domino.
Wow,
And we
okay.
played King Domino, and I've done the whole story. Like King Domino blew my mind. I had never seen a board game without a board. I had never, seen like the drafting of where you could take 2 turns at once. And also the big thing was like you could start learning how to like hate draft and do all these things. It was so fun. It like really kind of sparked my interest, and I bought it like right away when we got back to the US, and the rest is kind of history. So the Spiel has a special place in my heart. So we'll talk about that. But before the Spiel, we're going to talk about the Golden Geeks. And the Golden Geeks are BGG's awards. And so let's be just very blunt with them. They're basically a popularity contest. They're the People's Choice Award.
100%.
100%. And that's just what they are. And so some people will just say, hey, I don't care about it because it's not a jury. It's not like real experts. It's just people voting on the ones that, they know a lot of the time. But for me, I do think that games that just get on this list should be worth my attention, or at least I should look into them for a second. When a game gets nominated on this by the masses, I'm like, great. These are games that people who are on BGG, which is a pretty select amount of people, like if you are using BGG every day, like you have to like games in some manner. You're not just a quote unquote normie. And so when these games get nominated, it piques my interest. I want to check them out. So many times they're not for me at all. But I think of it just like the Oscars, just like the Emmys and the Golden, or what is it called? The Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, yeah.
It's like I will look at the shows that are nominated because it's just maybe it's a good show. If these people like the show, maybe I'll like the show. And I wish more people had that mentality of other people like this thing, so maybe I will like this thing. And that is how I go into it. And so that's why I'm so into them. But we're just going to kind of run through the winners and the runners up. These were announced earlier this month in May. So we're going to talk about it. All right. So for the 20th annual Golden Geeks, so these are 2025 games. You could vote on them if you have a BGG account and you just have a little bit of geek bucks, which is basically proving that you're not a bot. The 2-player games, and we've played a few of these together here. But the winner for 2-player game for the Golden Geek was Toy Battle. The runner-up, I'll do it in the other way next time, but the runners-up were Tag Team and Star Trek Captain's Chair. Any reactions to these games here, Jazz?
I'm honestly surprised that Zenith didn't like at least get into that like runner-up.
Yes.
Only reason I say like Star Wars Battle of Hoth was a remake of Memoir 44, which is a great game. There's not a lot of huge Star Wars fans out there to kind of play this game. So again, I think this was just like people voted because they're Star Wars fans. I'm not saying that it's not a good game. It is a good game. I didn't purchase it. It was one of those things that I wanted to, but I was like, I don't know if I need to have it. I do have people that own it. The one that I've wanted to try because I heard about like all the buzz it was getting was Star Trek Captain's Chair, and I'm a Star Trek, and I'm not a Trekkie. I know Toy Battle's great. I want to play it physically, other than on BGA. But Zenith, man, that one just felt like it came out of nowhere. I did, I sat down at a PAX Unplugged. Was it 2 years ago when they actually showed this game to me, and we played it like a 4-player style game.
Yeah, the 2v2.
The 2v2.
We think we talked about this. Yeah,
and I wasn't like wowed by it. Like I was like, okay, this is here, But when you play it 2-player, man, it's that back and forth tug of war is great. Yeah, so. I would have liked to see that one on there. The other ones wasn't a huge fan of. Flamecraft Duels is fun, but nothing I feel like I had to have in my collection. Yes, that's what I have about it.
Awesome. I'll just say I agree with you on Zenith. That was I actually only had the nomination, the full list open so that I could chime in on this one to say if there's one I would have really voted for, it would have been Zenith. I actually love Toy Battle, and I got to play it in person one time with Colin. That Alba gifted him, and we played it. And the quality of the production for Toy Battle is way higher than I would have expected, especially for the size of box it is. Yeah, so it's great. I think it's well deserving. I think the Captain's Chair is really cool because it's kind of in that, Imperium world, which we talked about in the State of Mind
Yes.
2 episodes ago. But like those Imperium games are kind of, the basis for that. And now it's Star Trek world. So people are loving this game. So that is really cool. Cool. We'll try to do rapid fire, just gut reactions to these here going forward here. I'll try to be faster, but I did want to agree with you on that. Like Zenith is was the one I would have probably put above, at least runner up, because tag team, I don't love tag team. It's really not for me. And I like Toy Bot a lot. All right. Artwork and presentation, I feel like is very subjective, obviously. And I have not played any of these games in person or seen them in person, but just get your reaction here. Artwork and presentation runners up were Galactic Cruise and The Lord of the Rings, The Fate of the Fellowship. The winner is The Old King's Crown.
Old King's Crown's one that I want to play. I know my buddy backed it in the second printing. It looks beautiful. I'm surprised, honestly, from right here, the ones that like pop out to me that I've seen on the table. I own Luthier and it's beautiful.
Luthier was the one I would probably say like, what the heck? I saw it. Yeah.
Speakeasy is great, but like even like Eternal Decks, that cloth playmat, just so attractive. I'm waiting for it to come. It's coming to the States soon, so that's pretty much the ones that really pop out to me.
Yep, I can't disagree. I actually love all of that, and Luthier was the one I would say like really is incredible looking. Just like even the box, it's
the production's crazy.
Cooperative game, which I play a decent amount of cooperative games, not too many, but the runners up were Eternal Decks, just mentioned, Vantage, and the winner was The Lord of the Rings, The Fate of the Fellowship.
Oh, I'm not surprised here. I definitely think Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship, it was well done. And I have played it. I can't wait to play it again. But yeah, Eternal Decks, I've heard so many good things. I know Amy and Maggie are huge fans of this one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
are so many people. Like Eternal, the board game box office guys love it. Max loves it specifically. So gotta love that co-op game. The only one I would have really that I actually went in and voted for on here actually was my Unmatched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I knew you would vote for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's so good, and I voted for it even though I've only played it two-handed solo. To be fair, but I will be covering it on the channel here once I get it played with one other person. I would love to cover it on the channel. So or on the channel, on the podcast, my friends. Okay, expansions, and we've played all these games. I don't think we've played all the expansions. The runners-up were Dune Imperium Bloodlines, Lost Ruins of Arnak Twisted Paths, and the winner was SETI Space Agencies.
I would agree there. That expansion is like the prelude for Terraforming Mars. It just gets the game going faster. So for those people who have who played SETI and like it was just a slow churn in the beginning that they didn't like it. Yeah, I would suggest play it with the expansion. It will really, I think, ramp the game up for you if you were on that fence.
Yeah, that's great. And I would love to try that because I've loved SETI in my several plays of it. I think 3 now. Haven't played any Arnak expansions. I think I would really enjoy that. But my big vote was for Bloodlines. I love the Dune Imperium.
I know you're a big fan of this one. This one I own. I haven't got it to the table yet, but I've soloed two-handed Twisted Paths, and I've really enjoyed both of the maps on here. So it's just more of something that you love if you're a fan of Arnak.
Awesome. I wish that BGG would let me go back and look at the games that I voted for, but the one I would shout out from the long list that I did vote for was Sea Salt and Paper Extra Pepper. I think it is such a great little expansion. You can try it out on Board Game Arena. It's like these horizontal event cards, and every round an event card comes out that changes some of the scoring. So for example, like when you play 2 fish, instead of drawing 1 card from the top of the deck, you get to draw 2 cards.
Ooh, okay.
Or there's one that makes the mermaids just don't do anything. They don't give you any points, but if you get all 4, you still win. One affects the mermaids too, where it's like it only takes 3 mermaids to win. There's one where if you discard a collection card, you get to draw from the top of the deck. There's a bunch of cool stuff, but the crazy part is the person who has the lowest score at the end of the round, they'll get the good effect card. The person with the low score is going to get that, and it's going to affect them for the next round only. And there's like kind of a catch-up mechanic. There's some negative ones where it's like, I can't think of any of them right now, but some of them are negative, and that's going to go to the person with the most points. So it's kind of these like moving around event cards after each event too. And it's like a little pack of cards, literally like a booster pack. Looks like, Magic or something like that.
Yeah, I do like how they
So,
did with all those expansions. They just give you that little pack. It's a great way to make a small box game, to keep it all in the same box. So I like that.
I love it. So yeah, shout out to Pandasaurus for that. Innovative is the next one here. Runners up. My goat of 2025, Moon Colony Bloodbath and Hot Streak. And the winner was Vantage.
Yeah, I think Vantage is very innovative. I didn't read Jamie's design diaries on this until after you had mentioned it to me. But I remember asking Jamie about this game, and it's like, the mind power that he had to put into making this world what it was.
For
like,
years,
yes, it's super innovative. Moon Colony Bloodbath, yeah, it's one that I enjoy. I played it with my game group. Finally, I taught it to them. Have one that wasn't a fan of it, but it's a fun one too. But I would go with Vantage there.
Yep, and I think Vantage deserves it. It's one of the weird ones where Vantage and Hot Streak specifically, there are other games that have done this maybe not as well in the past.
Gotcha.
Vantage gets compared a lot to Seventh Continent, gets compared a lot to Earthborn Rangers, in that kind of open world game. Hot Streak is basically the same game as Ready, Set, Bet or Camel Up.
Yeah,
right?
I would agree.
But I think it has innovative thing. I think Moon Colony Bloodbath, there's only one game that kind of had the similar thing, which was Empire's End, where you had which I have not played, but that's what everybody keeps comparing it to, is that an engine builder where your engine starts to get destroyed. But it does it so consistently. And the thing that I think not enough people are talking about, and why I voted for it for innovative, was that it has that shared deck. We are building a deck in the middle that flips out and affects everyone. And I just think that is so cool to be like shared deck building. And I hope that their expansions lean into that more, because that's not a major factor of the game, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I see your points there. I see your points. Hey, you might be changing me there. I could see that.
Yeah. I think it's great. I've heard people say that Moon Colony, but why is Moon Colony Bloodbath on this list? I'm like, it is innovative. Like it is like so fresh. When I played it, I was like, I have not played a game like this. I just haven't, and I've played a lot of games. So, light game of the year. This is always a fun category. I think light games are having a moment. I do think more and more. I think a lot of it has to do with that a lot of light games are smaller, and with tariffs and everything, it was so hard to get these big box games over here the last few years. So I think that's interesting. The runners up were Magical Athlete and Toy Battle, and the winner was Hot Streak.
I would 100% agree there. I played Magical Athlete for the first time. I blind purchased it at PAX, and we had a great time with it. And then Hot Streak was, sold out. And then they sold my copy at my FLGS, so I couldn't get a copy of it. Yeah, but I just got a copy about maybe a month and a half ago. I finally got it and played it. And my daughter asks to play it almost every weekend. And yeah, it's just a great game.
Awesome. I love that. We're going to talk more about Magical Athlete if we get to the American Tabletop Award, so I'll leave it at that. The only one off the long list I would probably shout out is Fliptoons. And I do think that is a great light game, and it's that auto battler, like really cute art. So it really is a light game that's also like portable, which I know is not part of it, but I think that helps with a game being lighter. Is it looks light, it's not daunting to like new gamers if it's just a big table hog and all that stuff. So I think those are great. I'm happy Hot Streak won over Magical Athlete. I like them both, but I definitely have gotten to a point where I really prefer Hot Streak there. All right. They also do a medium and a heavy, so we'll talk about the medium game of the year, which I find to be my bread and butter. Like, this is where I love to play games at this weight. So the runners up were already mentioned, Moon Colony Bloodbath and Vantage, and the winner was already mentioned, the Lord of the Rings Fate of the Fellowship.
Yeah, I'm okay there with everything, and I like the way Lord of the Rings. It's good. It is good.
Yeah, and so it definitely was one of the fan favorites for the Golden Geeks here, which I think surprised a lot of people because I don't think a lot of content creators were talking about it as like their favorite game of the year or anything. but I just think the BGG folks really, really appreciated it. I do want to, just because I love this weight so much, and I think our listeners probably do too, I just want to shout out all the nominees. The Druids of Adora, which is Stefan Feld's most recent game, and that looks pretty cool. I really would like to get that played. Eternal Decks, which Jazz just talked about, that has been trying. There's a new printing coming, and people are loving it. Cooperative, just unique mechanic type game. Finspan, the fish version of Wingspan. Formaggio, which we talked about back in our PAX U episode.
Yes.
Jazz had brought up, and I've played since then. I think have you played it, Jazz, too?
I have not yet played the newest one, but it's on my shelf.
Okay, I really loved it. I actually prefer it to the fromage, so I think you'll like it.
You know what? No, I think I have played. I just haven't played it at the full player count, but I have
at the full player count.
One.
Okay,
yeah. I do enjoy it.
Cool. That it's great. I think I need to have it. To be honest, I need to get it.
I like the idea of just being able to mash everything together and kind of just making your game more, just more variability.
Yeah, customize it with because it's got 4 different new wedges that you can mix with the original. It's what they call an expandalone. And then Sanctuary, which is like the tile placement only spinoff of Arc Nova. Scara Bray, which is Garfield Games, which looks kind of like old school. What do you call that era? Like cavemen era? I can't think. Prehistoric era.
Prehistoric type thing. Yeah.
And then Early Peoples, and then Zenith, which we talked about, which is really an awesome game. So love that. The long list for heavy game of the year is crazy because I have not played a single one. It actually blows my. I'm like really not a heavy gamer. I'm like, I didn't touch a single one in 2025. It's harder to get heavy games played like in the year that they come out. I think every year I play a heavy game from the previous year. Like I really want to play Speakeasy this year at some point in 2026 because it was so awesome last year. And the year before I played Darwin's Journey in 2024, even though it came out in 2023. So that's just kind of how I do that. The runners-up were Speakeasy and Luthier, and the winner was Galactic Cruise.
I'm surprised here that Galactic Cruise won. I expected Speakeasy to be the winner just because of everything I've heard. I'm not mad with Galactic Cruise because I do really enjoy that game. It was one of my top games of last year. Yeah. Luthier was probably up there as well. Mm-hmm. But the one game that not many people know about, or maybe because they haven't played it because it's hard to get, is Sweetlands. Sweetlands is my heavy game of last year. That's my personal one, and I own it. It's right here behind me. It's really good.
Ah, that's great. Yeah. We have to defer to you there. That's great. I would love to play Sweetlands and Speakeasy. I was not surprised by Galactic Cruise. I felt like in all of 2025, that was the heavy game that people were like talking about all the time. But you can't go wrong with Vital Lacerda. So like, I totally get that. Speakeasy is the final boss of designers there, Lacerda. Awesome. Just a couple more we're going to do here, which is Party Game. And the runner-up was Magical Athlete and Take Time. And the winner was Hot Streak.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised there with that. But I think one game on this list that people need to check out more is Wine Cellar. Andrew Styles. Good. It's that good. Andrew, you have a winner here. We went to, I don't know if anybody saw my Instagram, but my wife and I went to, I don't think I posted this one, but my wife and I went to a distillery a couple weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and we carry this with us all the time.
That's great. I love it. It's auctioning and wine theme and Vincent Dutray. Like I have to play it. I'm going to get it played at Origin. So that's really what I want to do here. You also covered Brick Like This a couple weeks ago.
It's a fun one. Yeah, it is a great one.
And La Cuenta we talked about on our PAX U list, which is so funny. Yeah. The only other ones I'll highlight that I have played are Lightspeed Arena. This is one with an app, and you like place these coasters out real time, like all these different ships, and there's like asteroids, and they have like lasers that lean off of them. And you put an app, like usually if you do an iPad, it's so cool. You take a picture of the board state after like a 2-minute timer or something like that. Then you put it down, and the app shows, based on the picture of all the like coasters that are on there, where the lasers would hit in a certain order. They're like numbered 1 through 8 or whatever. And so you could get your ship destroyed, or you could blow up an asteroid and get bonus points. It's really, really cool. It's
That's pretty
super
cool.
fast. It's a very unique app. And the game had come out, years ago, but then they implemented this app now, and it's so much better. Then I'll shout out Alibis also, which is kind of like in that Codenames genre, but deducing. It's like Codenames meets Clue, and it's cooperative. It's really cool. I do have to just say the Take Time one got a lot of flack, like in the comments. They're like, how can a game that's 2 to 4 players with
no communication,
be a party game? But people love that game. I genuinely need to play it because I need to see what all the hype's about. So I'm gonna just go through all these with I'll say all of these winners for the last few categories, just so you all hear it. And then we can just maybe, if anything jumps out at you, Jazz, you can react to it, because they're just kind of the smaller categories. Print and play. Dungeons of the Oakdale is the winner. The runners-up were Rise of the Oakdale and 52 Duels. Solo game runners-up were The Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship, and Star Trek Captain's Chair. The winner was Vantage. Thematic games, runners-up were Vantage and Galactic Cruise, and the winner was Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship. War game, runners-up were Toy Battle and Cross Bronx Expressway, with the winner being Star Wars Battle of Hoth for War game, by the way. Best podcast, we weren't nominated. We're pretty new. If we had been around for a while, maybe we'd be up here. But thank you all for listening and supporting us here. Runners-up were Space Biff, and 5 games for Doomsday, and the winner was Board Game Hot Takes. Shout out to my guys over there. I've been a guest over there. Love Board Game Hot Takes. I'm so happy that they got that victory. And then the board game app, runners-up were Cascade Digital, and Micro Macro has an app called Downtown Detective, and the winner was Arc Nova. So any just gut reactions really quickly?
One that just really stands out to me, solo game. Yeah, I think Vantage was the right pick for there. And then when it comes to war game, the Cross Bronx Expressway is one that I've seen of, and I was interested in it. And what piqued my interest is when I seen this as a war game. I didn't know what it was about, right? I family from the Bronx, so I know about the CBE. But yes, now I want to check this one out. But board game apps, there's some great apps on there. I didn't even know Watergate had an app, so I guess I got to check that out. But
I know it's like, ooh, I like that game. I love King Domino. I love My City. Yeah, I do. I'll shout out My City as the app. I love the app. You can play it offline. I will be playing this on my iPad when I fly to Origins as well. I do want to shout out Vantage. I didn't want to disparage it for cooperative, but we played it 2-player, and I just think it is a solo game. I would have more fun playing it solo. So I think I would have rather it won solo and not even been nominated in cooperative, to be in my personal opinion. And everything else, that's great. The big winners seemed. We'll talk about the big winners after we talk about a couple more. So there are the Golden Geeks. Okay, that's going to be the longest segment here. The other ones are much smaller here. I do want to talk about the big boy of the board game industry in terms of awards. This is a German award called the Spiel des Jahres. Okay, and they do it in 2026. They have a long list, is what they call it, and they nominate 3 games in the Spiel, which is the base game. And it's really important because there are so many people, as Jazz said, whatever these games are that nominated, a lot of people just go out and buy them immediately, especially
Correct.
Europeans. And it's been so long. I mean, I had it opened up. The first Spiel was nominated or awarded in 1979. So this is the longest running. So it's really a prestigious award in terms of board games. A lot of designers really strive to win one at some point. And a lot of times these are meant to be that middleweight, or not even really a lightweight entry point into board games. Some, recent winners would be like Cascadia, Azul, King Domino, and more recently, some really cool ones, Dwarf Romantic, Sky Team, and Bomb Busters, which are all cooperative. That's crazy. Yeah, all of those are cooperative. So co-op's been doing a really good job. Some classics that have won it, something like a Carcassonne, as an example. So it's a really cool award. I really love the Kennerspiel des Jahres, which is German for the connoisseur game. So there's supposed to be more complex games, and that has only been happening since 2011. And I love the Kennerspiel. I have not played a single Kennerspiel game that I did not love. The Kennerspiel winner. Yeah, we've talked about these before on the pod, so I won't go any further in there. But those have been going around for a while, and we'll just briefly cover these. But since 1989, they've done the Kinderspiel, which are the children's game of the year. So those have been going on for a really long time, and I just love it. I love seeing what gets nominated, especially for the Spiel, for introducing people to games. Like, if this jury, they really sit down, they play so many games, and they know what is a good game in terms of bringing people into hobby. Like, the rule book, like, straightforwardness is like part of the criteria. Like, can you learn this game from the rule book without Rodney from Watch It Played give you a tutorial, is actually criteria. So, okay, without any further ado, the actual nominees for the Spiel des Jahres 2026, which was just announced not too long ago here, I think just here in May. Cozy Stickerville by Corey Knizia is the designer. A game called Ditto, but in English it is called Jinxo. So it's Jinxo, designed by Martin Eng. And Morty Sorty Magic Shop, designed by Marcus Slawacek. Okay, have you played any of these games, Jazz?
I have not, but I've heard so many great things about Cozy Stickerville from people that have played it. It's one that I would like to get to play with my daughter. I think she would really enjoy this one. But no, haven't played any of them.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, I was when I watched a video about it recently, and I've heard a couple of people talking about podcasts. It's so funny you mentioned your daughter. The one thing I was going to say about it is I genuinely want to buy a copy, leave it in shrink for my 4-month-old daughter, because I don't know if it'll be around, are they going to keep reprinting it? Yeah, it's like, I would like to have a copy and play with her when she's like 7 or 8 years old, because people love, the people who have, gushed about it the most talk about their experience they've had playing it with their children. And I just think that's awesome. And I look forward so much. As a new parent, I look forward to that very much. So that is Cozy Stickerville. Jinxo is kind of like in that categories 3 of a kind range, where you're trying to, match up with words of what other people on the table are answering. But I think you're specifically trying to have one other person match you with the word. So if you write a bunch of things down, you don't want it to be the most common answer. You kind of want it to be like the second place answer. So there's a lot of games in this genre, to be completely honest. But there must be something special about it for the SDJ jury to nominate it for 2026. And then the one that I am most excited about is called Morty Sorty Magic Shop. And this is a 2 to 4 player game. And it's kind of like these funny looking witches and wizards with like all these different magical things like mushrooms and eyeballs and stuff. And I've heard it described as kind of board game version of Welcome To. Instead of a flip and right, you are putting these little ingredients, and they have to go in ordered number from left to right, which we're used to from Welcome To. And the thing that really caught my eye is that the designer's name is Marcus Slawacek, which I'm like, who is that? He is one of the designers of Challengers, which is one of my favorite games of all time, my 6th favorite game of all time, to be precise. And I've just been really following this guy. He's Austrian. And so I am very, very eager to play Morty Sorty Magic Shop. These all, released in Germany in 2025. So there's not a guarantee that they came to the US. I know Cozy Stickerville did. I don't think the other 2 did widely. But typically after a nomination, and especially like Jazz said, after a victory, those games get republished pretty big, because they know that it's going to get some more sales. The cool thing is, shout out to Board Game Geek, BGG Spring, which just happened here in May 2026. They bring all 3 of the nominees and get them all played, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, this Morty Sorty Magic Shop is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, the art is very interesting looking, but I'm really into it. The long list, I think there's just one on here I really think you'll be excited about. They usually just say, hey, these are kind of like, think of them as like a recommendations. Like, these were recommended, like these were considered, but they aren't official nominees. Those are Hot Streak by John Perry, Meister Makatsu by Reiner Knizia, which Jazz brought up, I think in the PAX U episode also.
Yes, we did. Yep.
Yeah. Take Time, which we talked about, Toriki, which I don't know anything about, Toy Battle, and Wilmot's Warehouse, which is a really cool cooperative game as well. And again, some of these might be weird. You might be like, wait, that came out 2 years ago or something. It all depends on if the game was released in Germany in 2025.
Correct.
All right, going on. I'm just going to name these off really quickly here. The kids version, which I think is they're so cute here. The Kinderspiel. I really do want to, follow these in the future. As of right now, it's obviously tough for me to, have a reason to do that. But the ones I'm trying to find the English names here. Sorry, 1 second. The kids games are Boo Party, which looks like a little ghost, which is really, really cute. In German, I'm not going to butcher that. It's Mookie Island in English. This is Befriend the Adorable Mookies, but Watch Out for the Spider, which is very, very cute. And the other one, which is, I really don't want to butcher this in German, but that's all they have, is Verflixt Verzaubert, okay, is what it is. And it's play as all these characters. It's like a one versus all deduction game for families. So those look really cute. And I'm just marking down these Kinderspiels for the future. I mean, have you ever bought a game off of a Kinderspiel and played them with your daughters?
I don't really just straightly go off of that. Honestly, I go what I've seen I've heard played, but a lot of them have been at one point either a nominee or something that has won a Kinderspiel. But this Mookie Island does look pretty interesting. I like when kids games incorporate the actual box as whether it be the board or things like that. And this looks like a little card game that uses the box, as a component for the actual setup of the game. So I think that's cool because it makes it easier for the kids. I like something that's quick to set up and quick to put away. So that's something that I'd be interested in checking out.
Agree there. Okay, and then the one I'm most excited to talk about, because I do think that these are games in a weight that I really enjoy. I think some people in the BGG crowd might, turn their nose up at a game of this weight. These are kind of, I think they're all in the 2.0s range, they're not, 3.75, 4.25 weight games on BGG. But these are complex for a non-gamer. They're considered a connoisseur. These are for real, quote unquote, real gamers. So those nominees for the Kinderspiel are Boss Fighters QR, which is the game I had really not heard anything about. And
Me
it has
neither.
an 8.1 rating on here, which is crazy. Then there is Moon Colony Bloodbath, which I jumped out of my seat when I saw that. The one I was the most excited about, my favorite game of 2025. And Rebirth, which is Reiner Knizia here, which has already skyrocketed to 427 on the BGG rankings here. And that is the one where it's it's kind of like rebuilding civilization in Ireland and Scotland, and it's really, really cool, and I have played it, so we'll talk about those. So Boss Fighters, really quickly, it uses it's kind of like a tactical boss battler where you're cooperative campaign game, and a lot of the cards and the missions have QR codes, and you use an app to play along with, which again, I'm pretty Luddite when it comes to these things. I don't use a lot of apps for my games, but I want to give this one a try for two reasons. One, I watched Dave Luza over on Twitch. His name's Luzapalooza. He's a podcaster too with This Game is Broken Pod. I watched him play this for a little while and I was like, this looks really cool. It kind of looks like a video game in that way. And also the two designers have been designing for decades, but they got a lot of love last year with Dorf Romantic, the board game, which is their highest ranked game. But my other gateway game, I can't believe we talked about my main gateway game was King Domino. The other game that brought me into the hobby is Bang the Dice Game. Yes. And this pair did that. So I really want to play Boss Fight. What are you thinking about when you're looking at
I'm looking at it. It looks really interesting. I have not heard nothing ever about this game, but this is one that I'd be intrigued to check out, especially something that has the little app components too. I'm not really big on apps, but I'm always saying if it could get more people to the table, but still keep that element of feeling like a board game, yeah, I'm all for it. And
you have a couple games, don't you like Mansions of Madness?
I love Mansions of Madness. I think the app really, it immerses you into the experience. So if games can do that, but still keep that board game element, I am all for it.
Love it. We'll quickly talk about Moon Colony Bloodbath because we talked about it a lot. This is the Donald X. Vaccarino engine building, engine losing tableau game here that I love. It's a 2.12. So this is the heaviest on the Keter spiels here. It's a great game. I cannot wait for it to get some sort of expansion. But I love that game. Very innovative. Got all these Golden Geek nominees. We don't need to talk about it too much. And then Rebirth is Reiner Knizia's Tile Layer from, which I thought it was a 2024 release, which I think it was in the US. So that's why this one shocked me. But I got this played last year. It's very much in line with like Babylonia, which I'm kind of every single time I play that, I'm loving it more and more. So I really like Babylonia. I only played like the nice side of the board, and I believe that is Scotland. If you flip it over to the Ireland side, it's like got way more going on, apparently. And it's a little more cutthroat. I have not played that yet. It's a little more quote unquote gamery, but every turn you're basically putting down one tile. That's it. And then it's like triggers a bunch of points and you're trying to surround, certain energy points and all this type of stuff. It is a really, really cool game, and it is really beautiful. I think it looks really great.
This one looks incredible. I will tell you that when I first saw this 2 years ago, I forget which convention. I think it was maybe PAX Unplugged that was at, where they were just releasing it or getting ready to release it. And they kind of explained it as like, if you're a fan of like something, although you're not building the board out, but something like Carcassonne, where you're adding things to the board and you're scoring based of like things that are nearby, adjacency, things like that I would be interested in this. I was like, oh, I got to check this out when it comes out. I could never get my hands on this, but my one buddy was getting rid of it. So I was like, before you post that on like a Facebook Marketplace or something, I'll take it. So I bought it off of him. Obviously I haven't been able to meet him to pick it up, but I'm excited to get this one played. Of course, when the doctor has a game, I got to check it out.
Yeah, you got to check that out. I love it. I really would like to get it played again, to be honest. Awesome. So the long list for that, I'm rooting for Moon Colony Bloodbath if it isn't obvious. The long list for that is Sanctuary, which is that spin-off of Arc Nova by Matthias Wiggy. Frosted Blooms, which is a Bruno Cathala co-design.
I have played that one. I played it over at PAX this past PAX, and it was pretty good. I like the little tile layer.
I think we talked about it on that PAX U hype list, and I've been playing it on Board Game Arena. It's on Board Game Arena right now. It is really cool. It's got some unique polyomino mechanisms.
It does.
Foundations of Metropolis, which I have not played, by Emerson Matsuchi, and Tag Team by Gritcha German and Corentin Lebrat. French.
I could see Foundations of Metropolis is pretty much Foundations of Rome, but they just did a retheming of it.
And they made it less overproduced.
Right? They made it affordable for everybody else's pocket.
Affordable for the layman, for the average folks here. So that's the long list. So yeah, I need to get those spiels played. I think another thing about this, like, and we talked about this with Morty Sorty and with the Boss Fighters QR game, like these games weren't on my radar, and that's just another thing I really like about awards is like. It'll put it on my radar. I'm like, I want to check it out. Let's just see. Maybe I'll love it. I'm not going out and buying these games like sight unseen, but that is something that I really like. Okay, that's Spiel. Got it. We're cruising through this. I think we're gonna have time to do two more sections here, which is the Mensa Select and the American Tabletop Awards. These are shorter lists here. So Mensa Select. I actually don't exactly know exactly what their criteria is, but the Mensa is kind of this like little card you can get. Like you get a little card saying I'm a Mensa person. I've been told it has something to do with your IQ, which is interesting. So people have their own, they have their own like opinions on Mensa, but every year like hundreds of Mensans meet over one weekend to play and rate the year's newest board games. And the top 7 get a Mensa Select like badge. And I gotta say, I've seen games on it, and they also do a kind of thing where they have a little bit of a, some unique answers on here. Some of the ones that get on here in previous years are games I'm like, whoa, I don't hear a lot of people talking about that game. And a lot of it is they play these games over the weekend multiple times, but, it's still relatively first impressions. How much does this game, impress us that first time or feel good immediately, like challenging and good concept. They also talk about like good value for the price and easy to comprehend. So I've really kind of liked keeping an eye on this over the last few years, but this goes all the way back to 1990 as well. So
Wow.
like the first Mensa selects would have been, sorry, I have it open here, like categories and Taboo way back in the day. And now
What got me into playing board games.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I love it. I also will say, I know that they have done this in Portland in previous years. I don't know if it's every single year, but they do come to Portland and they descend upon the city to play board games for like a whole weekend, which is cool. All right. The games, and I will give thank you, Mensa's website. I can give all the details here. The 7 selectees this year, which previous years had less than this, but A Place for All My Books, which is designed by Smirk and Dagger and published by Smirk and Dagger Games and designed by Alex Cutler and Michael Mihalsik, 2 to 4 players there. Cozy strategy game of gathering, organizing, and admiring a book collection.
And a lot of people who love that one.
Yeah, that one looks really cool too. I will say we didn't talk about this with the Spiel des Jahres. The jury committee makes a nice little like jury blurb basically about each of those games, and I do encourage you all to go look at them. They really do a good job of like bringing the game, to its essence here. All right, back to the Mensa Select. 6 more. Critter Kitchen, published by Cardboard Alchemy, designed by Alex Cutler. Wow, another person on there again, and Peter C. Hayward. Yes, which is great. Fromage is on here, which is awesome. We love Fromage around here. That's great. I'm surprised by that. R2I Games, and it is designed by Matthew O'Malley and Ben Reset. A lot of a lot of pairs here as well. And I'll read the first sentences of each of those. Critter Kitchen, enter a world of critter chefs and delicious dishes. And Fromage is a simultaneous worker placement game where you make, age, and sell cheeses to become the most prestigious cheesemaker in France. I think the heaviest one on here, which is Galileo Galilei, published by Capstone Games and created by Tomas Holek. Galileo Galilei is a new Euro-style game in which you take on the role of an astronomer who will discover new planets, uncover hidden star systems, enhance your telescope, and achieve groundbreaking scientific discoveries amidst the challenging era of obscurantism.
Yeah, I'm excited to get my copy played of this, but...
Yeah, that's on your shelf of shame?
It is on my shelf of shame, along with many, many others.
Many that we've talked about today. This is good. It's like affirming for you. Like, these are the games I should get off my shelf.
Yeah, maybe I should, right?
Yeah. This one I just got sent to me by Blue Orange Games, the publisher. Got 5 here. I'm really excited about this game. Designed by Johan Levitt, 2 to 4 players. In Got 5, each player has 5 hidden tiles on their rack that everyone else can see. Kind of think, Hanabi or something. On your turn, reveal tiles, ask questions, and gather clues to narrow down the possibilities. So you're trying to figure out what your 5 tiles are, and they're all different numbers, and they have different colors and these little dot system. And so it kind of makes me think of like Bomb Busters, but not cooperative. It's kind of like we're competing to see who can discover what their 5 numbers are before the other people. So a little deduction there. So, and it's really pretty like acrylic tiles, very much like Azul or something like that. Yeah. 2 more here. Things in Rings party game by All Play, created by Peter C. Hayward, which is his 2nd appearance on this list, which is good for him. And it is 2 to 4 players. What it says, I think that's wrong. I think you can play it like a lot more people than that.
I thought it was more. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a copy, and I definitely think it's more than that. You basically place these Venn diagram rings in the middle. You create a triple Venn diagram, and one player is the knower who knows the logic rules for each ring and facilitates the play. So then people will place a card, it's a noun, in one of the Venn diagrams, or like either in the singular circle or one of the cross sections. And the knower will move it and say like, hey, this is not in the right category, based on these descriptors. It is a really fun game, and I'm very happy that I have it.
Yeah, we'll fix it. It's 2 to 6. I have my copy right
2
here.
to 6 players. Hey, there you go. Jazz grabbed his within like arm's distance. Love it. So I like that one a lot too. And then finally, another game that I feel like is not getting enough love at all. This is Twinkle Twinkle, also by All Play, created by Ammon Anderson. It is a tile laying game where you fill your star chart with clear plastic tiles to connect constellations, asteroid belts, comets, planets, and study them with satellites. So it's very typical like tile laying game. And it has the King Domino drafting system, which I really, really love. And
that one's beautiful. I know I haven't played it, but it looks beautiful on the table.
Yeah. And, I haven't seen it on the table. I've been playing it on BGA, so that's another one on Board Game Arena, which is great there. So those games are All Place for All My Books, Critter Kitchen, Fromage, Galileo Galilei, Got 5, Things in Rings, and Twinkle Twinkle. Is there anything you want to say about those? Or I know
No,
you chimed in a little
I love
bit, but
seeing Fromage on here. Galileo Galilei just kind of affirms that I got to get it played. Things and Rings, I got to introduce it to more people. I've played it once, I believe. I haven't played my own copy. Twinkle Twinkle, I know a lot of people love it. But this Got 5 looks really interesting. I never heard of it, but I'm going to check this one out. But,
yeah, I heard about it from Our Family Plays Games, our OFPG family.
Yeah.
They got a copy too. And so I'm really interested in this one. I'm going to really try to get that played like this week. Okay, that's the Mensa. It's great. I think it's one that maybe not as many people are covering. So those are some really cool games. I definitely think they focus on, like I said, like easy to comprehend, but like challenging at the same time. And that's kind of a sweet spot that I particularly am interested in. Okay, the American Tabletop Awards here. And I've seen designers share this a lot, the designers that I follow, but I feel like not a lot of us board gamers maybe talk about this as much, but it's been going around for a while. There's a lot of winners, like all the way back at least to 2018. And they have 4 categories here. So they have early gamers, which is distinct from casual gamers or casual games, strategy games, and complex games. Okay. So I'll explain early gamers. I'll just explain them all as they go. So early gamers are games intended for younger players, like 12 and under, and also players new to board games. So basically this is like non-gamers and kids, and it usually runs 15 to 45 minutes, like max. And so the winner this year was Magical Athlete, which I think is very appropriate, as we have talked about from all these other nominations that it got there. But it recommended a couple other games that I really love. They recommend 2 games, Cascadia Jr., which is another game I want to buy and keep in shrink for my 4-month-old daughter, along with, I'm going to put it right next to Cozy Stickerville, and Duck and Cover, which I love.
I love Duck and Cover. I really, really do. And looking at this, and I look at the nominated games. It said Splendor Kids and Sandcastles of Burgundy. I've played Splendor Kids. I'm a little bit meh on that one, so I guess I'm glad they have the winner. I would have preferred definitely would have preferred Magical Athlete in that spot. So.
Yeah, to that one. That's great. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, they do 2 recommended games and then 2 nominated games. So I actually don't know. Is recommended better than it seems like recommended is better than nominated. But so there's really 5 games in each of these here. Awesome. Okay, we're going to talk about the casual games here. And so this is more what I think people think about when you think of light games here. So like early gamers is maybe you'd say family games and like full on gateway. But casual games are also approachable, appealing to gamers at all levels of experience, typically 30 to 60 minutes. And I really like how they actually define their criteria here. The winner is Hot Streak, and the recommended games are also mentioned before, Flip Tunes and A Place for All My Books.
Yeah. Hot Streak, can't say nothing about it. Can't say enough about it. It's definitely a keeper in my collection.
Yeah, me too. And I know we're kind of like beating a dead horse with it, but I did have one thing that was interesting to me about Hot Streak was someone was telling me that at my local game group that they're like, it's kind of fun. It's more fun for the person who's running the game. And I was like, I have a really high opinion of Hot Streak, and I have always been the like deck, the deck flipper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I need to get on. I'm usually, I'm the host. I'm very much a curator of games. I'm bringing the games. I'm doing that, and I seems like everybody's having a great time. But that was an interesting thing for me to hear. So I'm like, maybe I need to let someone else be the arbiter of the game and see what my experience is. I think I'll still have a lot of fun with it, but it is an interesting point.
Oh, I never thought that.
Yeah.
I gotta try that out too.
Are you usually?
I'm always the flipper. My daughter's
the flipper.
My daughter's the race handler.
Yeah.
And then my wife kind of handles all the money. She's the banker.
She's the bookie. That's what they. Yeah. There's like there's the dealer, the bookie, and the handler. Yeah. The nominated games were Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, which we haven't talked about much yet in this episode, but we love that game. We've talked about it on the pod. And 7 Wonders Dice. Awesome. Last 2 categories here, strategy games. So these are a step beyond casual games. They have a little more complexity, planning, and duration, typically 45 minutes to 2 hours. And the big winner, which this is awesome because this is a committee of people, not just the People's Choice Award. This is Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship. by Matt Leacock, and the recommended, of course, Moon Colony Bloodbath and Knitting Circle.
Nice. Yeah, a Knitting Circle I've seen a bit about. I don't know if I would just prefer to play Calico, so I got to check out what Knitting Circle's all about. But
yeah, I actually saw some. It's a sequel to Calico. It's definitely a different type. It is not going to hurt your brain in that way like Calico does.
Okay.
You're creating your own like knit like puzzle. So I do prefer Calico to it, but I think it's a really cool game. And my local board game club was just playing this last week, and they were having a great time. Nice. A table next to our table. So the nominated games were Critter Kitchen and Kinfire Council, which also have not been talked about a ton in this episode from the other awards. And finally here, let's see what you got here. Let's see if you know this, Jazz, with your heavier games. These are the complex games, deeply strategic games, especially appealing to experienced players, often employ a myriad of game mechanisms and lean towards longer play times. That's a good way to put it. The big winner was Molly House, and the recommended were Above and Below Haunted and Galactic Cruise. What do you think about those?
I think some good recommendations there. Again, I know a lot of people who've played Molly House love it, but then again, I think it's like hit or miss with Cole Whirly games for people in general. Like, I would never suggest a Cole Whirly game to be like, hey, if you love heavy games, just go right into a Cole Whirly. I think it's something you got to work yourself into. So I think it's like looking at this list, I would say, hey, I would tell someone, if you want to try heavier, just take it with a grain of salt. I would try some of the recommended stuff first before you want to step up into that
before you do that
game.
Yeah.
But I like the list of nominated stuff there. Well, one of the games on that list of nominated.
Yeah, which is Tidal Blades 2, Rise of the Unfolders, and Covenant. So which one have you played?
Yeah, I played both of them. Tidal Blades 2, again, it was good for what it was. I'm not big into those, that genre of games, but I enjoy them. But I'm very picky. Some of them just feel the same to me. I do like the attacking mechanism that it has in there. So that's one thing that's unique that I really like about this one. But I really enjoyed Covenant. Covenant, Devere puts out some heavy hitting bangers over there, especially for their heavier games. I know Covenant was a hit or miss for some people, but I enjoyed it. We have it in my game group and we love it.
Yeah, I'm really eager to play Covenant, which we talked about before because specifically, the theme. Yeah, I think the theme is really, really cool to me. So, okay, thank you for bearing with me on all that. We won't have time here to talk about the other two that were big nominees here, which were the Dice Tower does their own. They have a bunch of really cool categories, and they nominated multiple games on each of those. There's like a Reddit post that has it all. It was a YouTube kind of video. They announced it live, but there's a Reddit post that has all of those. So shout out to that person who posted on r/boardgames. I really love some of the categories that Dice Tower has. Specifically, I really like best welcoming game. I think is a really cool thing. It's kind of a category that I wish every single one of these did. They also do best reprint, which I think in today's era should really be kind of mandatory. It's like there's so many reprints out there that I think it's a really cool thing. They do things like new designers, small publishers. So I won't spend too much time on that. They're really cool. And then the Origins Awards do a similar thing. They have tons. They nominate things like trading card games and tabletop TTRPGs. So I didn't want to cover those at all, but they do a lot of them. But what I did do, just quickly, is I compiled all of these nominees from these 5 or 4 that we just talked about: Golden Geeks, Dice Tower, the Dice Tower categories, the American Tabletop Status, like American Tabletop Awards, Mensa, and the Spiel and Kenner. And so do you want to guess from all the, and listeners, if you've been listening, you probably could do this, from all of those we just talked about, what there were 4 games that all got 9 nods exactly, and they're the most. And so what did we keep hearing? Maybe you...
Fates of the Fellowship.
Fate of the Fellowship was a massive consensus hit for
obviously,
sure.
Obviously, it's Hot Shriek, Magical Athlete are probably in there. If you're going heavy hitters, it's Galactic Cruise. I would say
Galactic Cruise was on there. Yep, as well.
Vantage. You saw a lot of Vantage everywhere.
We saw a lot of Vantage.
Yeah.
So You're right. So it's Lord of the Rings, Vantage, Galactic Cruise, and Luthier. Actually,
that's right,
all got
Luthier, okay.
9 across of at
Wow.
least 9 nominations. The Luthier did really well in the Dice Tower, so we didn't see that. It was like new designer, theme, strategy, small publishers. It got a bunch through the Dice Tower Award, so they really liked it over there. Hot Streak did get 7, so it was nominated by a lot. So was Speakeasy and Eternal Decks. So those were like the biggest, like across these different platforms of the year. So if you really wanted to check out some games that seem to be very beloved, it would be these 7 games: Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship, Vantage, Galactic Cruise, Luthier, Speakeasy, Hot Streak, and Eternal Decks.
Nice.
Awesome. So that was all the awards. I think trying to fit all these into one episode is definitely a choice. So thank you for sticking with us here. I'm going to let my boy Jazz talk about his En La Mesa game, Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard.
Yeah. I don't know. Gunnil, Mr. Gunnil, Japanese designer, is known for his a lot of 2-player card games, specifically 2-player trick-taking card games. I don't think you can go wrong with trying any of them. This is designed by Gunnil and Olivier Sipier, I would say, a little French name, but of course Vincent Dutray art. The artwork in this game is stunning. If you have ever played Jekyll versus Hyde, the competitive trick-taking
head to head, right?
Head to head, yeah. It's competitive where you are trying to move your the little pawn that's in the middle, different sides of the board, to try and score some whoever's going to be the winner, right? You're trying to manage how you win your tricks. One person's trying to win a lot of tricks, one person's trying to stay in the middle. The Hyde character is trying to stay in the middle, how many tricks they win or lose. But this one is played cooperatively, and you have a board set in the center, and you and your partner are playing Jekyll and Hyde, and one is playing the Jekyll character, one's playing the Hyde character, and depending on how you start that round, one person will be the lead player, some pop follows, but there's a third player, which again, I know this is a touchy subject for a lot of people when it comes to playing like any type of card game or a trick-taking game where there is like a dummy hand. But I think it works very well here because there's a strategic element to how you play this game. So this game is played over the course of several chapters, where each chapter, has a set rule set that you have to try to complete.
Oh, interesting. Is it like a campaign, or is it more like the crew, or like
I would say it's more like a campaign-esque, right?
Okay,
styled game. And the rules say that you have to play it in 2 turns to be able to 2 hands to be able to complete the chapter. If you don't complete it in 2 hands, then you pretty much reset and you got to do it all over again. But pretty much you're going to start your character, your Jekyll and Hyde character, on the board in a set location depending on which chapter you're on. And then you have Scotland Yard, who's trying to capture Jekyll and Hyde. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to move your Jekyll and Hyde piece to a certain location at the end of the board without being captured. But that piece moves dependent on how many tricks the person who won the least amount of tricks wins. So if I win 3, my partner wins 5, we're going to move that piece 3. There are some other elements in there where if you also win a trick with an 8 in it, you will also be able to move your pawn an additional spot for each trick that you've won with the 8, which is very difficult to do because there is a setup rule on how you start that dummy hand. This is where that strategic element comes into play. At the beginning of the game, there's a day and a night phase, but before you even distribute the cards, you and your partner can kind of discuss how you're going to attempt to complete this chapter. But once the cards are dealt, there's no communication. You're going to look at your hand of cards, and you are going to put 4 to the center of the table. Your opponent's going to put 4, and that's going to make up the dummy deck, your partner. So you put 4 that you don't want from your hand. You want to give it to the Scotland Yard dummy deck, and so is your partner can do the same thing. But if you have an 8 in your hand, it must always go to the Scotland Yard deck. which makes it very difficult to try and win. So there's that element of that trick taking esque game of like how you strategically play your hands out. But like Jekyll and Hyde, Jekyll versus Hyde, there are these like the three tokens that give you like these special abilities, right? One allows they're pretty much based off of the three colored hands or suits within the deck, and the three suits are blue, red, and I think it's white. So the blue is fear, ruse is the red, and then the white is manipulation. But as you're playing your cards out, the cards are numbered 1 through 8 of each suit. You have the three different tokens for each suit are going to be set based off of like what card comes out first. So if blue was the first card ever played out, and that's going to be the first token that comes out, and then the next token, the next color token goes on top of that, and then top one goes on top of that, and that pretty much sets the trump suits for the entire rest of the chapter in the game as you're going to play through. And for those that have ever played the Jekyll versus Hyde, I believe it is, I know Dracula versus Van Helsing has it, where you set the trump suit. That the trump suit, for those that don't know trick taking, is going to have that hierarchy of what card becomes the most powerful. And when you play these potion cards, which are in the deck, and when potions are played after a color, that potion takes on the color of that previously played card. You activate one of these colored tokens. One token allows you to swap the tokens around, so you can change the hierarchy of the trump suit. One card allows you to draw the top card from the Scotland Yard deck to kind of see what it is, and you can kind of take it into your hand, and you can swap cards. So it pretty much allows you to swap your hand. So that's how you can kind of get an 8 into your hand. Another way to do it is there's another card that allows you to take a trick that has been won by the Scotland Yard deck, which becomes very, very powerful. So again, you're trying to move your token across the board to get to the final space, but you don't want to go too far, because for every space that you move that you would have had to move past that final space, actually the Scotland Yard is going to move as well. So it's trying to really manage certain hands you do want, you're trying to get the perfect movement. And it's, really trying to manage this. I think this is going to be a good game for people who are heavy fans of trick takers and want that cooperative play. But again, I took this game, I think we were talking about Wine Cellar before. I took this game to a distillery with my wife, and she said, hey, let's just bring whatever game you want. And this is one that I
bring whatever game you want.
She said, wow. Of course, there's not much space in a distillery or a winery that we go to, right? It's just a small little table that seats 4. But I thought this was perfect. It was perfect for the setting. A little card game, and I wanted something that was
it doesn't seem like it has a huge
doesn't have a huge footprint at all.
Yeah.
And my wife doesn't play many trick taking games at all. She knows Skull King, but if I was to ask her, hey, remember Skull King? She forgets it.
Yeah.
So we played this, and she loves cooperative, so she was ready to play the next hand. And I like how the game kind of scales up. The first 3 chapters, it's teaching you the rules of how the game works, but by the time you get to the 4th chapter, you are full-fledged all the way in. There's some other different elements to the cards, like there's certain cards that have a Scotland Yard logo on it that will move the token a little bit further for Scotland Yard. There's another cards that have the Jekyll versus Hyde symbol that allows you to move as well. So it's just really, this hand management trick taking game that, as you play, it's really cool, because you and your partner's you get this level of how you guys play, and you figure out, I think it also teaches people who are not fans of, or not big trick taking
skills
players,
or experienced with
exactly.
it. Yeah.
It kind of teaches them how you lead, and how you play off of certain plays. Okay, I'm gonna maybe lead with the low suits to kind of pull out the higher cards, things like that. But it's fun. I think if you're a fan of something we talk about it, the Lord of the Rings trick taking game, this one I think would go right there as well, and you should add it to your collection. I think if you love that game, this is another one to check out.
Awesome. Yeah, I was I think that's the best thing about cooperative trick-taking games, is that you can, if someone is new, you play, and I'm guessing there's limited communication. Is that
Yeah, there is. There's pretty much no communication. You're just pretty much playing off of what you play.
Yeah, and I think that's the cool thing is you play. If the noob makes a mistake, then you say, hey, like this is what you did wrong, and this is why I played. When I played this card, I was indicating this to you.
Correct.
And when you're playing, spades or hearts with a bunch of veterans and you're new, you're just going to get destroyed because they know what to do. And it just feels really bad. Whereas at least in a co-op, you can kind of, have that learning moment together. So yeah, this seems to fit right in that Fox and the Forest duet,
Correct.
Sail. I mean, there's so many two-player cooperative trick takers nowadays. It's kind of wild. Like there's a lot more than you would think.
Yeah,
that was cool. I love it.
I really do enjoy this one. I would continue. I would want to get it played more. I think that as I was playing this, I was like, man, I think now as I asked my wife how she enjoyed it, she said she really enjoyed it, and I was like, all right, now I can probably ask her once we get through this, let's play Sail because I have it in my collection. I haven't played it yet either.
That's great. And it just looks great. Holy moly. Awesome. I have another looker, not in that genre. And I'm talking about Off With Their Heads. So this is actually new hotness. I do have to say this is technically a review copy. I did get this from Druid City Games. So shout out to them. Thank you so much for sending this. Thank you. Shout out to Ilya for sending this to me. Off With Their Heads, ! Is designed by J.B. Howell and Michael Mihalsik. Artist is Manny Tremblay and publisher is Druid City Games. So you'll recognize that Manny Tremblay art from like Wonderland's War. It is in the same universe as Wonderland's War, which is also in the same world as Mad Kala, which is sitting on my shelf to be played as well. And it's all about, keeping the Red Queen pleased as you would do in any Wonderlandian themed game. But the art does also remind me of Dice Throne. It's like, man, he really has such a style there. But it is actually really in more of the flip and write genre. And instead of just like a card flipping in the middle, like bingo style, like a lot of my favorite flip and writes, Next Station London or whatever, they're calling it the first ever reveal and write. And I think that's a really good way to describe it. Other people have described it more as like kind of trick-taking-esque, and I think I understand where they're coming from, but I think that does the game a little bit of a disservice. It's really more like a Libertalia. So if you haven't played Libertalia or take 6 Nimmt or take 5, whatever, everybody's going to be having a hand of cards. It is a normal deck. That's the other thing I love about this. It is a normal deck of cards. Everybody's going to take one, put it face down, and flip it face up, okay? There's going to be a hierarchy, which again, I think is a little bit, I can see how it's a little trick taking. The Red Queen is on one of the 4 suits. So let's say she starts on the hearts and then it goes clockwise. So then hearts are the strongest this turn, then clubs, then diamonds, then spades. So since hearts are the strongest, even if I played a 2 of hearts, that's going to be stronger than a king of clubs now because the hearts are the hierarchy right now. Everybody puts their card face down. We reveal them at the same time. And we see who has the strongest card of this this turn. They're called bouts, actually, of this bout, and who has the lowest, and then the 2 people in the middle. So that's for 4 players. If you play 3-player, you do have to flip a card randomly from the top of the deck because there's always got to be 4 cards. 2 people are going to end up in the middle. One's at the top, one's at the bottom. So there's a high, 2 mid, and a low. And that is important because then the writing portion comes in. You have a awesome little gamepad where there's the meadow, the woods, and the keep, which represent the high, the mid, and the low. The person who got the high number, they put that exact number in the high section, in the top section of your, flip and write pad. Sorry, your roll and write pad. The 2 mid numbers put theirs in the woods, and the low number puts theirs in the keep. And each of these are different mini games. And they have different locations. The mushrooms, there's red mushrooms and black mushrooms and a 2-color mushroom. And you have to put those numbers in, and they have to be unique numbers. You can't have the same number on the same mushroom. And what's crazy about that is it's the high location. So you're usually winning a bout with an ace or a face card, and the face cards are all 10. So you can't put a 10 in the same spot you put a 10. So you want to win with other ways based on the hierarchy and everything. So that's really cool. The woods, you can place numbers anywhere, but you don't want to put the same number adjacent to another number because it won't get you double points. There's a bunch of little like bonuses in there. And then the keep, the low number is kind of you start writing numbers from either end. And so you have to start writing them adjacency rules, like starting from the right-hand side or the left-hand side, going through. It is so fun to like be thinking about a card, playing it down, flipping and hoping, because I'm like, I really want to put this 10 in the high meadow, but somebody beat me out, and now I have to try to figure out where I'm going to put this red 10 somewhere, in the woods. That just right away, for people who like are, what's the word I'm looking for, hesitant or skeptical of the flip and right genre because it's just so low interaction. Again, my favorite one, Next Station London, really there's no interaction. Like it's so low interaction. And this one does, like, it makes you really think of that hand management side here. But on top of all that, there's one more special reveal here. You get a hand of 9 cards, and there are 3 rounds, and within each round, we're going to reveal a card 7 times. So those are each called the bouts, right? So we do 7 bouts with a 9-card hand. There are 2 cards remaining. We put those off to the side. We go to round 2. We have 2 cards left over. We go to round 3. We have 2 cards left over. Each of us have 6 cards in reserve that we never played. And then we all are trying to, with those 6 cards, create our best 5-card poker hand. And the person who has the high, and you score based on the best poker hand you make, and the person with the highest poker hand at the end of the game gets a bonus, like 5 points or whatever. But it is so, the mind like thought of like, I need to play this card because I really need to win this bout. But I'm also like, I need to save these pair of 2s because I really want to have a poker hand at the end of the game. Do I sacrifice that for that? And I didn't even mention there's these special characters, the 9 Wonderlandians. You're trying to have them be invited to your tea party, and they all have different criteria, for how you write numbers in to get that. And then the only other thing is that there are very typical wombo combo and like adjustments. So there's teacups that allow you to adjust where you play. So if you lost a bout, and you're like, I really needed it to go in the middle, you can cross off a teacup and put that number in the middle if you really need to at one point. And then the biscuits that say "eat me" on them, very, very Alice in Wonderland, they allow you to place that same exact number in a different location. So you kind of get a little wombo combo there. It is an absolute blast. I'm truly smitten by this game, and I've had it requested at my local game club since I've played it 4 times only. So I just like to be very upfront with that. But I keep bringing it back to game night. It's a nice medium-sized box. I don't really, maybe, the size of like a Welcome To box is what I would say it's like. And it's gorgeous. I'm so glad I have it. Thank you so much, Druid City. This is right in my wheelhouse. Like everything about it's like standard deck of cards, beautiful art, a little interactive with a flip and right mechanism, and like a really interesting, tough decision of like, do I play this card now or do I save it for that poker hand? Like all those things just scream rolling Reggie's taste. So, take all that with a grain of salt. About $30 MSRP.
Yeah, this one looks really cool. Like I've looked at it before, and I kind of just put it off. And I remember you had talked about this a little bit ago, a few episodes back. And you had said you had tried it. It really intrigued me. But now hearing you kind of give it a little bit more of a full discussion of this is one that I'd be interested in checking out and playing. I'm not sure if I'd add it to my collection because I don't think this would, with people that I play with would fly for them. But, finding people that own this game, I would be intrigued to play this, especially that, I'm looking at the actual, the writing board, the little board that you have to write on.
The pad.
And having that the Meadow of the Woods and the keep, that little those mini puzzles that you're playing within there. I like that. I like that a lot.
It's cool. And if you like those little mini games of like typical flip and writes, and you like those, like a Three Sisters where you have 2 pages, this is just 1 page. And again, it's more about, how you interact with the other players to where you get to write your number. It's great. I think if I had one critique of it, it's a production thing, which again, it's beautiful. And I don't know if this is a review copy thing. I would love to see like if someone else correct me, email us if I'm wrong here, but they're one-sided. And so it's like this big pad, and then there's just a whole backside that's wasted, which I just feel like is a little bit of a miss in 2026 to not have double-sided boards. I don't know what the reasoning is, or again, if it's a review copy thing, but that is something that I'm like, I've been taking them and like cutting them up to use as like scrap paper for myself because I feel so wasteful just tossing a giant piece of paper. But there's that. I would say this is like a 2.0 weight. I would say, talking about awards today, like if this would be like something I would push for a Kenner Spiel, it's like right in that like wheelhouse for me.
Yeah. I would just Yeah, I always wonder why games like this have this huge pad. I guess it's obviously probably cheaper to print them out.
Yeah.
I like if when the pads are like just simply reusable. I just like to laminate them and just write on there. You know,
which I think is a great solution. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think a lot of companies obviously they realize that people are going to do that anyway. But then again, I feel like you're just wasting. You know, like you said, the paper. You know, you have all this. You know. So yeah, but this looks interesting. Really, really looks like a fun one. I'd be interested in checking out.
Yeah, be great.
Love the Manny Tremblay art.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Wow, that's everything. Thank you all for sticking with us here. Jazz, do you wanna play us out here for the dearest gentle listeners?
Yeah, before we close out, we want to give a huge shout out and thanks to our podcast music, my buddy, my boy Judge, aka at Dre the producer on IG, and of course to Kenan at Punchboard Cathedral on IG for our awesome board game logo. And we always say thanks to you guys, the listener, because you could be anywhere else, but you stayed right here listening to us talk about the best hobby in the world, board games, right here on Board States, the podcast where friends become rivals and board states decide the outcome. We will catch you on the next one.
Nos vemos.